Good morning, Houston. Got a bunch of logs up here.
Good morning, Endeavour. I hope you slept well tonight.
Absolutely.
This is Mission Control Houston. We now have live television from cameras in Endeavour's cargo bay. Endeavour currently above the southern Pacific Ocean on a track that will have it make landfall above Central America. This view showing the solar panels, the new solar arrays that were installed by the crew on the second spacewalk of the mission and that were unfurled yesterday.
Endeavour Houston on the big picture.
Roger, Houston, go ahead.
Covey, we'd like you to go ahead and not perform the maneuver that you've got loaded up for 1800, and I'll tell you why. We have been spending a lot of time looking at DIU-2 telemetry, and we now conclude that we do see more than just data dropouts in that telemetry. We're looking at the signature of the power control unit, and it is indicating that there is some troubleshooting that is worthwhile to perform before we deploy this thing, primarily having to do with the A side of the DIU. So what we want to do is spend the next 2 to 3 revs doing this troubleshooting. It involves going to internal power once we get to our next sunset, and then swapping to the B side of that DIU. And in addition to that, we're also checking out the functionality of the battery charge relays. All of this is going to take at least 2 revs to accomplish, and because of that, we are definitely going to delay to deploy by 2 revs. During the next couple hours, we're going to be looking at all of this troubleshooting information, and by MET of 20 hours, we hope to have a decision of whether or not we will actually deploy today. This will, of course, depend on what we see over the next couple revs. In the meantime, we'd like you guys to sit tight. Don't perform any maneuvers. We like the attitude we're in right now. We will give you a call for the internal power steps, and we want you to just relax for a while and bask in the glow of all the great work you've been doing the last week.
Okay, well, we understand, Susan, and we've got plenty of work to do other than to deploy, and we're taking care of that stuff now, getting tools put back together and stowed, and we'll continue working those things. My understanding is there's nothing in the flight plan that you want us to do then until you give us a call.
That's correct, Covey. If we decide that we need to put you to work on something else in order to make our time more efficient for the next couple days, we will call you.
This is Mission Control Houston. This view from Discovery shows the other cargo on board other than the Hubble Space Telescope servicing equipment, an IMAX camera, which has been filming the work by the crew for an upcoming IMAX movie. This is the Space Telescope Operations Control Center at the Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. At present, the analysis is continuing. Again, the problem is with one of the data interface units. It was a problem that appeared earlier this afternoon and is not related to a computer problem, which was being analyzed last night. That computer problem was cleared up and found to be related to poor communications, basically just radio interference in the communications between the ground and the orbiter that were causing basically glitches in the data that was being received on the ground. Again, it's been confirmed that the onboard computer for the telescope and the coprocessor that was added to it by astronauts is in excellent health. That was confirmed by telescope controllers yesterday, or early this morning. Current problem is with one of 4 data interface units on the telescope. This one, data interface unit number 2. All of the data interface units have backup equipment. In each data interface unit are 2 circuit cards, and on each circuit card are 2 sides, 2 completely identical sides that perform backup functions for one another. The current problem is on, believed to be on one of the circuit cards for data interface unit number 2 on one side of the circuit card, on side A of that circuit card. And the focus of the current analysis is to ensure that the telescope is in good health with the backup equipment and analyze the exact nature of the current problem that's been seen on that circuit card to see if indeed it can be corrected from the ground, as well as to ascertain that if there's anything that can be done on board Endeavour to ensure that nothing can be done on board to correct the problem, and if there is something that could be done on board, what it might be. Again, the main belief is that there's not a problem in deploying the telescope in its current state, but just that more insight is needed on the exact nature of the problem, as well as to ensure that the backup equipment is working well, and that any corrective actions that could be made with it in the shuttle's cargo bay will be attempted before it's deployed.
Houston Endeavour, step 2, transferred internal power at 7 days, 19 hours, 8:30.
Copy.
This is the Space Telescope Operations Control Center at the Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, with that call from Mission Specialist Kathy Thornton confirming that the Space Telescope has now been switched to its own internal power sources. The next step in this troubleshooting procedure during this night pass, Endeavour now is on the nighttime side of Earth with about a little under 33 minutes left to go before sunrise comes again for the spacecraft. The next step is disconnection of the umbilical through which electrical power has been fed to the telescope throughout its stay in the cargo bay. And the Space Telescope now already operating off of its own battery power on board.
Endeavour Houston with the final chapter of the big picture.
Final chapters sound good. Go ahead, Susan.
Well, Covey, I've got good news. We have taken a look at that data from the B side, and it all checks out. The HST project would like to deploy today, and so we are going to go ahead and press toward a release. We are going to uplink to you a new replanned flight plan that has moved all of your activities for that Rev 121 deploy, and we just want to let you know that right now there's no activity required from you until about 21 hours even, when we'll be talking about a Group B power-up. We are hoping to get the uplink through tips of your new flight plan within the next half hour.
Great to us, and understand that until 2100 hours, which will be the group hour, we'll have no scheduled activity.
And we're ZOE. That's good copy.
This is television from Endeavour's payload bay cameras showing the mechanical arm in the foreground. This view from a camera located at the midway joint on the arm or elbow joint. This view from the camera at the end of the arm is the fixture is lined up. And the payload deploy and retrieval systems officer here, the position with the responsibility for the mechanical arm, reports that telescope's now securely captured.
That was a beautiful grapple.
Yeah, we were all commenting to Claude what we thought about it.
Crew's now opening the latches. 3 latches to be opened. One of them's open so far. Latches continue to open. Again, once all the latches are open, the next step will be for Claude Nicollier to lift the telescope from its platform to a position just above the cargo bay, position called low hover. This is a view from a camera mounted on the work platform underneath the Hubble that's there for guidance as the telescope is lifted off the platform. The alignment diagrams are on the bottom of the space telescope. The payload deploy retrieval systems officer reports telescope's now about 2 feet up above the platform as Nicollier continues to slowly raise it up to first a position paused above the cargo bay at low hover.
Endeavour, it sure is a pretty sight. We're going to go ahead and put the stop commands in work.
Roger, Houston, and at this very moment, we're going right overhead Houston, looking at Houston right between the solar rays.
Boy, that's got to be some view. Endeavour, 30 seconds to motion of the aperture door.
Roger, we're all eyes.
Commands are being sent now to open the telescope's aperture door and to activate the mechanism's control unit for the door emergency closure.
Very nice.
And we saw that.
The snares that are holding the telescope to the end effector have been released.
Houston, we have a good release. TIG of SEP was 1 hour, 0 minutes, 22 seconds.
Copy. 1 hour, 0 minutes, 22 seconds, Covey. And we have to say that through your superb efforts, you have really shown that NASA can do all that we promised to do and more, and we very much appreciate it.
Thanks.
The sentiments of the payload community and, in fact, the all of the flight control team expressed on the model in front of the flight director console. HST reopened for business, completely renovated. That now that the telescope is locked onto the tracking and data relay satellite, transmitting data on its own.
And we have a good end effector view now.
Okay. like this, Houston?
Oh, it's not bad.
Houston, we're going to stop this tape and put in a tape of the D camera for you.
Roger that, Covey.
Houston, you should have a view now.
We've got a great camera delta shot.
Okay.
These being sent to us from the crew are playbacks of the actual release of the telescope, which occurred at 4:26 this morning Central Time. As soon as it was released from the robot arm, the Space Telescope Operations Control Center folks reported that it immediately required the sun, or captured the sun on the solar arrays.
And I got to tell you, these views are so spectacular that over the course of the last week, we've seen so many spectacular views that you almost get numb to it. They're still incredible, though.
We know what you mean. It's hard to top the one from the day before.
You are right about that.
Yes, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
Well, the Vice President and I wanted to call you and congratulate you on one of the most spectacular space missions in our history. We're also proud of you, and we've been able to see you do all those things. It's just been wonderful, and I want to thank each and every one of you for what you've done. You made it look easy.
Well, we appreciate the thanks and congratulations, sir. That's nice, particularly coming from you. As you know, great adventures are once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, and the 7 of us were lucky to be able to be part of this great adventure.
I know that you know this, but you have really both educated and inspired people all over the world. I don't think any of us will ever forget the image of KT lifting the damaged solar panel over her head and then letting it go. That was a moment of high drama. Maybe you should come down here and help us stage our events on Earth.
I think it's easier to throw away solar panels.
I'm glad the press corps heard you say that.
This is Vice President Al Gore. I want to also congratulate all of you. It was a fantastic mission and still is. And I think that most Americans see your success not only in terms of the specific mission you have successfully performed, but also as a symbol of NASA on the way back and NASA being restored to its place in our country, inspiring future generations, inspiring people with the can-do spirit that we associated NASA with during most of its history. And I think you can be proud of that accomplishment as well. I know that the spirit of your mission and the whole feeling of the team on the ground and everybody in NASA, including Dan Golden, who is here with the President and me, has been just remarkable and has symbolized NASA turning the corner, if you will, and coming back strong.
Story Musgrave, sir. I'm one of the EVA crew members. As you can see, we got some different colors here. The magenta, I guess you call it, are the spacewalkers, and the ones in up front there in navy blue. They're the ones that took care of us and launched us, took care of us during the spacewalks, and will bring us back home. But what you say, what it took was incredible attention to detail and an incredible amount of energy to identify what surprises might come up and try to assure that we would get the job done. An immense amount of training, but I think it did. The challenge was a very, very ambitious mission to restore Hubble, to fix the spherical aberration, to restore Hubble so it will be good for many, many more years of science. A very ambitious mission, but it did take the kind of stuff that we have, and that's mostly attention to detail, identify surprises, turn over every stone, and give it all the energy we got.
It also took at least one person who was making his 5th journey into space. I was looking at you. You can't imagine what a wonderful picture you are there. You and the 2 men behind you prove that you can walk in space with or without facial hair. I tell you, yeah, well, and he's both. Another thing that you did, I believe, to follow up on what the Vice President was saying, I think you gave an immense boost to the space program in general and to America's continuing venture in space. In this last session of Congress, we had quite a struggle to preserve the space station and an adequate ongoing budget for NASA because we were cutting so much else. And I'm really gratified that we were able to do it, and I hope that this stunning example of what can be accomplished will really reinforce the support for America in space, both in the Congress and in the country. I think it will. All of you were just absolutely wonderful.
We want to also add a special welcome to the Swiss member of your team because it's really symbolic to have an American shuttle with a Canadian robotic device operated by a Swiss astronaut. It's symbolic of the international nature of the space program now, and as we look forward to even closer cooperation and collaboration with Europe and Canada and Japan and now Russia, the whole world will see the space program once again as a symbol of the highest aspirations of humankind. It's been a wonderful mission.
Well, I feel very privileged to have been selected for this mission as a representative of the European Space Agency. As you know, the European nations participated in this program in the design, in the manufacture, in the exploitation of the scientific results, and I feel really very privileged and happy to have been selected as a crew member, as a foreign crew member on this mission.
Let's see, who have we not heard from? The rest of you have to talk. There's somebody back home looking for you.
Well, I was a little bit remiss, sir, and I didn't introduce all of the crew. Of course, you just heard from Claude Nicollier, the other member of the orbiter crew, and who did a lot of the mechanical arm flying along with Claude was my co-pilot, Ken Bowersox, on my right here. And the other EVA crew members, besides KT and Story, are Tom Akers on my far left and Jeff Hoffman behind me. I'm sure they would all like to make a statement, and I'll let Sox start off.
Yes, sir, I just want to say I'm proud to be from a country that supports efforts like this. I think space exploration reflects the continuing pioneering spirit of the American people, and I think it's something we can all be proud of.
Hello, Mr. President. Thanks for your congratulations. Of course, for every one of us 7 up here, there are literally hundreds of people on the ground team who have put just as much effort and energy and talent into this mission to make it a success as we have. And they not only deserve the credit for it, but we sure wish they could be up here with us.
Mr. President, I think that this mission is unique in another way, and that is that it has really combined 2 aspects of space exploration. It has joined the use of space for scientific exploration, which the Hubble telescope is so exciting, and everyone in the astronomical community and all over the world is waiting to see the results now of the newly refurbished Hubble. And it's joined that with the human space program. And this is very exciting, and I think is only the first part of showing what people and machines and scientific exploration and human ingenuity can do in the environment of space.
Well, thank you all. Let me just say again that we are all so proud of you, and I appreciate what each and every one of you have said. It's a real clear message about not only your incredible abilities and your courage and the support you got from all those hundreds of people helping you back down here, but of the profound importance of our country continuing its adventures in space. We depend on it down here for so much scientific knowledge, and we're going to do what we can to support you and to support NASA and to support the space program. And you have taken an enormous step forward for building that kind of support, not just in the minds, but in the hearts and the spirits of the American people. And you've done it with great good humor. And we thank you so much, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. A wonderful, inspiring success story.
Well, we truly appreciate those words, and we thank you for taking the time to talk with us now, and also for taking the time to be supportive of our nation's space programs. It's very important to us, and I can't tell you how proud we are to be able to represent those programs and to be able to help bring NASA back to new heights if we can do that.
You already have. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good luck.